Uh, Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. And I think, Alan, you can introduce yourself and get started.
Cool, awesome. Hi, everyone. So you've seen my face looking at you for a few minutes now. Thanks, Yakuba. Thanks to the team at Kwakol Markets for giving me this opportunity. My name is Ilan Azbel. I am one of the founders of a company called Autochartist, and that's the product we're going to be talking about today. Uh, First thing to let you know is don't worry, no one's trying to sell you anything today for once in your life, okay? No one's trying to sell you anything. This tool that we're going to show you today, the suite of tools, is completely free. Kwakol Markets pays your license fee on your behalf. So again, this is purely educational, no need to buy anything. So put down all your guards and just relax and listen and learn. We've got a really nice sized room today. I'm super excited. Obviously, you picked a good time for this webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to just type them into the chat window or into the Q&A, the questions and answers panel, and then I'll get to them when I can. I don't have any colleagues with me on this presentation. It's me alone. So um, I'll get to the questions when I manage to glance at them. I've got three monitors, right? I got my all my webinar stuff, my trading screen, and another screen with some notes and things. So I've got to keep track of a lot of things. So let's get going on that. So um, uh, the tool we're going to be talking about today is a tool called Autochartist. And Autochartist is what the name says it is. It's a tool that automatically plays the role of a technical charting analyst for you, right? So if you are looking at price graphs and you don't know whether to trade long or short or up or down, depending on your experience level, and you don't know what to trade, many traders turn to technical analysis to guide them as to where to start looking in the markets, for their trading opportunities and their trade setups. And that's really what Autochartist's task is. It's to take away that time and that effort of looking for these types of trading opportunities. So today's webinar is a set of actually the first of a series of three webinars. The first webinar today is just a general overview of technical analysis and the Autochartist analysis suite. The next webinar is going to be, I believe it's next week, is specifically around risk management. And that is probably the most important webinar you've ever attended as a trader. And then the last webinar is around performance statistics and how we backtested Autochartist and which trades are better, which trades are worse, and how to pick the trades you wanna actually follow. So all three of them quite interesting, but today's a very kind of broad overview. So first things first, I am going to show you where to get this tool. So if you go to the Kwakol Markets website and you click on the trading menu, under tools, there's a section called Autochartist. When you click on that, you get to the screen over here. And down here, there's a green button that says download MT45. This is actually to download the Autochartist plugin. I see that there's something wrong with this link right now. I'm sure the guys at Kwakol Markets are going to fix that to actually get it to download the plugin itself. But once you download the plugin, you go through a very simple installation process. And one of those things where you go next, you agree to the terms and conditions, and you go through it, and at the end of it, your software is installed, and that will actually give you something that looks like the Autochartist Expert Advisor in Metatrader, which I've highlighted for you just now. Right over here, it is, and you drag and drop it onto your chart. So that's really a simple way of getting the tool. But before I go into actually using this Metatrader plugin, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about technical analysis and the kinds of trade setups that Autochartist identifies for you. Okay, and in order to do that, I'm going to go to this screen here that you see in front of you now, called the Trading Opportunities screen. And this is actually the component you'll find in your trader cabinets. If you log in to Kwakol Markets, you'll actually find that in your trader cabinets, this little component. And it's, for me, from an educational perspective, it's easier to show you what we do here to explain to you. And I see that Yakubu has actually sent the link to you to show you what that download link. Oh, let me actually click on that and then show you where that goes, and I will copy and paste that to you in the chat window. Here we go, everyone. Here is the link where you can download the actual plugin, but I'm sure we'll fix that link from the Kwakol Markets website anyway in a matter of days. Okay, so let me explain to you really what Autochartist does. So Autochartist doesn't do the easy stuff that you get in all the platforms already, like Metatrader, like moving averages, RSIs, Bollinger Bands. Really, every platform has got those things, and there's very little value add to the trader from identifying those kinds of technical analysis setups. Autochartist is actually primarily focused on identifying psychological levels in the market. And let me explain to you what that means. So many of you that have traded the markets already, and those new ones amongst you, will notice that markets don't just go up and up and up and up. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. They go up and down, they oscillate, they do all kinds of crazy things, right? Now, interestingly enough, these kinds of turning points in the market are what we call psychological turning points. When a price of an instrument is going up, it means that the buyers of the instrument are prepared to pay more and more money for this asset that the sellers are offering that asset into the market, right? But then at some point, the buyers are saying, you know, actually, this asset is overvalued, and I am not willing to pay more money for this asset because it's not worth that much. And then the price starts going down, right? And then the sellers say, whoa, hang on a second, it's gone down too far. This asset is worth more than this amount of money. I'm not willing to sell it for less. And then this price starts going up. And then again, the buyers don't want to pay more. And then the sellers don't want to pay less, don't want to take less. And so there's this constant fight between the buyers and the sellers in this market. And these turning points are what we call overbought and oversold levels, right? Overbought, people have paid too much. Oversold, it's gone down too much, right? So they're called overbought, oversold. They're called resistance or support. They're called lots of different names, but the reality is that it's always referring to one very important thing in the market, and that's these psychological levels in the market. And this is really where Autochartist comes in. So these kind of psychological levels are very, very difficult, close to impossible to work out using simple arithmetic, right? There's a lot of AI and machine learning and visual interpretation of these graphs that goes into identifying these kind of levels. Let's look at an example. So if we look at this example on EuroCAD 30-minute chart, we see that Autochartist did a pretty good job of identifying this important level of 131.40 as being an important level. Why? Because it's touched it here, touched it again here, touched it again here. And now the price is moving, the current momentum is moving in that direction towards that level, right? So it looks very much like this level of 131.40 as an important price level in the market. Now, these kinds of up and down movements between what we call support resistance, overbought, oversold levels happens in different forms. One of the forms is where there's both support and resistance. So there is an upper limit and a lower limit So the price is fluctuating within a range. In other situations, like this example that we spoke about on EuroCAD, there isn't an upper limit and a lower limit. You can see that the price is kind of all over the place, but it still keeps coming back to this level of 131.41, right? So in the situation where there's an upper and lower limit, we call these technical, oopsie, I can't type, technical chart patterns. Where there is just one line, either at the top or the bottom, these are called horizontal support or resistance levels. Okay, but they essentially mean the same thing. They are trying to explain the psychological market conditions and this fight between the buyers and the sellers in the market. Okay. And so if you open up any book, if you go out and bought a book on trading stocks or trading currencies, trading equities, commodities, crypto, there will always be a chapter dedicated to something called technical analysis and specifically technical chart patterns, right? And that's because this theory of trading chart patterns has been around since the 1930s. It was actually originally called Dow theory. Okay, but more recently, in the last kind of 20, 30 years, the word technical chart patterns and support resistance has become a lot more popular in the market. And so Autochartist identifies many, many different types of these support and resistance levels. So let me run through. Oopsie, let me run through some examples. Okay, so in the settings screen, I'll show you some of the easiest ones to look at. So first, let's look at these technical chart patterns. So here are what we call technical chart patterns on the Forex market. What we're looking at here, and you can see I'm going to annotate these graphs, you can see that the buyers and sellers have been fighting on NZD CAD 30. Overbought, oversold, overbought, and now the price has what we call broken through the support level. That means that the price is no longer trading between these two lines. It's broken through. And so the theory of technical chart patterns, and this is the theory you'll find again and again in all the textbooks, is that the price is going to go down to this level, 0.8155, right? So this is what the theory is. So is Autochartist, people always ask me, is Autochartist this brand new way of trading or something? No, it's absolutely not. The Autochartist is simply an automated way of identifying these chart patterns that have been around since the 1930s. Okay, so it's Autochartist, again, it's purely an automation tool. It's nothing new. It's not a black box. No one's trying to invent something new or teach you something new. It is the most basic and fundamental principle of technical analysis, right? Let's look at another example. CAD Swiss franc 60-minute chart, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, and now again, a breakout and a potential price movement to 0.7392. Okay. So these are what we call breakout trading opportunities. And let me show you what that looks like in the filters menu. I selected technical chart patterns, which are just support resistance levels within a range. And I've selected breakout. There is another kind of trading setup that Autochartist identifies. It's called emerging patterns. Now, this is super, super sophisticated, and you should only use them if you've had experience in the markets. Okay, so disclaimer, they are, you need to be very, very wary, cautious, and an experienced trader when you trade them. What is the reason for that? So instead of waiting, for example, on this, for pound Australian dollar to break out through the support or resistance level, what Autochartist has done, it says, look, I've identified overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought, and now the price has started moving in this direction. So instead of waiting for the price to break out, the Autochartist tool tries to tell the trader, hey, this thing has just turned around. It's still trading within a range in a downward trend. Okay, so it's giving you kind of preemptive warning of what's potentially going to be in the market. When we look at the breakout chart patterns, right? So let's just say, let me scroll down on this window here. Okay, so let's just see, here's an example. If this Euro Swiss franc graph breaks through the support level, then Autochartist will tell us, oh, there's a target price level somewhere down here. We think the price is going here. Right now, it's not giving us a target level. It's just saying, hey, the current momentum is in a downward direction. There is a potential that it'll break out through the support level, or there's a potential that it might rebound. So I am not sure about the experience level. Wow, I just looked at the webinar attendees. Holy crap, we have a massive audience here today. That is amazing. Okay, I suddenly just got nervous when I looked at the number of attendees. That's awesome. Okay, so sorry, I got distracted there by that big number. So what was I saying? So for those amongst you who are slightly more experienced traders are now thinking, okay, Ilan, I know why you're telling me this. Because if I had to trade, let me show you some breakouts and some, if I had to trade this example here on New Zealand CAD 30 minutes, there is only one way to trade this. If I decided to trade this, I would trade it short with a take profit at 0.8155. However, if I'm trading an emerging pattern, let's just say this GBP odd, suddenly I've got lots of different options available to me. I could trade a buy limit at this level at 170.80, so that if the price hits this level, it might rebound. Or I might trade a sell stop, right? A pending order if it crosses that line, assuming the trend will continue short, right? So these kind of emerging patterns, I call them this preemptive strike on the market, gives you much more variety in terms of the types of trades you can trade, right? So not only at the spot price, but you can also place these very sophisticated pending orders in the market, right? So stops and limit type orders in the market. And what we'll do is when we actually go into Metatrader, I'll show you some of these types of, we'll actually open some live trades because I think the guys at Kwakol Markets have created a live trading account for me with $1,000, and we're going to place a few live trades, hopefully not lose too much money, but show you how it all fits together. But for now, I think what I want you to take away from the last 5 minutes is that it's important to understand these overbought, oversold kind of areas in the market, right? The fight between buyers and sellers. I want you to have this concept of breakout, right? Something that's not trading now within a certain range, or emerging, where prices are still trading within a certain range in a trend, right? There's these type of concepts and words and terminology that you'll encounter in technical analysis. Okay, so let's look at a couple more types of patterns that Autochartist identifies. I'm going to look at now at what we call key levels, which I mentioned a few minutes just ago. These are just important horizontal levels. So let me highlight a couple of examples. So here on I don't like these examples on the minor. Let me look at some major currencies. Here we go. Okay. All right, so let's look at AUD CAD here. So AUD CAD 15-minute chart. The price had a very serious breakout through 0.90, touched this line again, rebounded, moving towards this line again. So Autochartist identified that there's a support level at 0.9033. It's emerging. Okay, and the current price momentum is moving in that direction. Actually, it looks like we picked this up an hour ago. Okay. On the conversely, there's a couple of breakouts here that I want to show you. Where were some breakout examples? Here we go. Here's a nice breakout example on ORD JPY. The price broke through 4 hours ago, so we're 4 candles too late. That would have been a really nice one to watch. But you can see that Autochartist did a pretty good job of informing us that 94.20 was a very, very important level in the market. And you see the size of this breakout. I mean, that is an absolutely massive indication that that the psychology in the market has changed, right? This $94 was a very important level, suddenly broke through, and the price has been slowly trending up to 94.65 in the last few hours. Okay, so again, what is the difference? When you get a trade set up like this, there's only one way to trade it, which is long at the current spot price with a take profit at 94.65. If you're trading these emerging patterns, let's look at this one, Euro CAD 30. What are the different ways of trading it? And again, don't worry if it's too much. We're going to go into Metatrader and show you some of these things. What are the ways to trade them? You can trade it short at the spot price with a take profit at 131.40, or you can trade a sell stop limit, a sell stop order at 131.40, which means if the price hits 131.40, then the broker will automatically open your short position. Or you can set a buy limit at 131.40. So if the price hits this level, the broker automatically opens a long position for you. So again, it always, at the end of the day, depends on your outlook as to what's happening in the market. But Autochartist gives you kind of a very, very important preemptive strike on this Euro CAD 30-minute chart. All right, now I'm going to show you a couple of other little things. I'm going to just skim over this. Fibonacci patterns. So I wonder if any of you trade Fibonacci. Are any of you guys wave traders, Elliott wave traders, or Fibonacci traders? Let me know in the chat window. I'd love to know in your Q&A if any of you do this. We found in our experience, we're in the market for 20 years, people that like Fibonacci are niche, but they're avid followers, like they're dedicated to Fibonacci and they truly believe in it. Other people dismiss it and don't really care about it. But let me show you what the theory is all about. The theory of Fibonacci patterns is that prices move in Fibonacci sequences. So this line A to B and B to C are certain Fibonacci ratios of each other, 0.618, 0.5, etc., etc., etc. There's all these different Fibonacci ratios. And so what these Fibonacci patterns are telling us in this situation is that if the price hits this purple dot, then the price should turn around if it conforms to Fibonacci theory, okay? So the way to trade these emerging Fibonacci patterns is, in this situation, you would set a sell limit at 0.8248. So if you're a wave trader or a Fibonacci trader, you would set a sell limit over here. Let me see a couple more examples. If there's some long examples, I don't have any long examples here. Let's see if there's something on indices with some long examples. Oh, here's some long examples. So MA, it looks like, if the price hits 342, then the price could go up, which means that we should be setting a buy limit order at 342.53. So if the price bounces, then you'll have a long position in the market automatically. Again, my experience has been that Fibonacci patterns are really for very advanced, very experienced traders. If you are one of those, you're probably not listening to me. Okay, Rosalind, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, or is it Rosaline? Rosaline, I can't allow you to talk in this webinar, but I see you've raised your hand. Could I ask you to type a question in the questions and answers panel? That would really help me. And please, there is no such thing as a silly question. Ask any question you like. We are talking about quite sophisticated topics of conversation here today. The next thing I want to show you is something called big movement. Now, big movement is super awesome. It's one of my favorite pieces of info at Autochartist. So my two favorite pieces of info at Autochartist, in case you were wondering, are the key levels and big movements. So big movements are pretty cool because there is the one thing I've learned in the markets is that prices never move in one direction, right? They're always moving up or down. But many traders ask, what is a big movement? Like, what is a lot? So on Euro USD, a big movement might be 3%. On crypto, a big movement is 25%, right? Or 30%, right? So you can't, a big movement on the US 30, that's again, 4% is a massive movement, right? So different instruments have different types of movement profiles. And so you hear a lot of these words like buy the dips or, sell the run-ups. But what is a dip? What is a run-up? Okay. And so Autochartist also provides you this big movement analysis. Let me just remove the key levels and show you the big movements alone. And what this means, if you have something like this, GBP ORD 60-minute, identified 32 minutes ago, it's a big movement. It means that this movement size over here on GBP ORD is in the 98th percentile, okay? Which means only there's a 2% chance that, or in the past, we've only seen 2% of movements bigger than this, okay? Why do I like this kind of information? Because I'm a numbers guy and I love it when things are at the extreme. So if any of you know anything about statistics, there's a bell curve for a reason. And if something is sitting out here on the outskirts of the bell curve, there is a high likelihood it's going to move back into the center of the bell curve. Okay, but past performance is not indicative of future performance, so a disclaimer there. But I love these things because I'm kind of like a contrarian, so I would love to personally go long on something like this, right? When I see these extreme movements, I really, really like them. The other thing I like to see on these big movements is, I don't trade 24 hours a day, right? I have my trading screen open while I'm at work. And so sometimes, especially in the morning when I wake up, I want to see, hang on, what has actually moved a lot in the market? Why has it moved, right? So instead of looking at the news, I'm looking at the effect on the market and then say, okay, hang on, what happened with a pound or what happened in Australia with Australian dollar, right? Why are we seeing these massive movements on these instruments? What happened on the Hong Kong dollar, right? So I like to catch up on these kinds of big movements. And so you have all these different types of analysis types. And so all of this information is obviously available for you on Forex, on cryptos, on commodities, your indices, shares, right? They're all there waiting for you to trade. So there's a really an insane amount of information out there. Okay. Now, just to get back quickly. Oh, I see that Yakubu has sent me a message that this has been updated. Let's quickly see. Ta-da, that's awesome. Thanks, Yakubu. That's awesome. I see that if you go into the Kwakol Markets website and you click on Autochartist and you get to this page over here, and you click on the download plugin, it actually takes you to the download plugin page where you can click download plugin. You can also watch a whole bunch of videos about the Metatrader plugin, which I'm going to show you in just a few moments now that we've got the basics down. So this is the trading opportunities component, and we see all these different types of analysis. One thing that you might be subscribed to is this daily market snapshot. So you might be getting this in your inbox. If not, it's super interesting to get this in your inbox and subscribe to it on the Kwakol Markets website once you've logged into your account. It's interesting because you can get a view on the market in just 30 seconds when you wake up in the morning. Okay, so for example, AUD USD potential of going up, Euro USD potential of going down, GBP. Oh, it's a looks like it's contracting between a support resistance. New Zealand dollar still trending in a bullish trend over the last few days. Canadian dollar, ooh, massive breakthrough, a support level. Swiss franc trading in the trend. So very quickly you can get an idea of what's going on in the market, okay, and see if anything strikes your interest. So Kwakol have actually done a pretty cool thing here, and I can see what they've done. They've actually taken a mix of the major currencies. We can see AUD, Euro, Pound, etc. They've put in a gold and a silver. They've put in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and a couple of the major indices. You can see something happening on the Nikkei, on West Texas Instrument, on oil. So they've got a nice little mixture of instruments over here. And so, you know, in the morning you can wake up, have a look at, oh, what's coming up today, high impact economic events that are happening today, the market movers over the last 24 hours, and again, you know, what are the opportunities that you could be trading? Again, all this pieces of information over here is the same as what I've gone through over here, right? Everything is around these psychological levels, right? And the breach of these psychological levels and this fight between buyers and sellers in the market that has created these opportunities. Okay, so I'm betting that many of you are asking yourselves, Ilan, how good are these things to actually trade? And so I want to tell you that the third webinar in the series is all going to be around performance statistics and how often Autochartist hits its target levels that it gives, right? So how often does a price hit the target level? Okay, and so we have these statistics. So on the Forex market, on the indices, and so, you know, we've got them for technical chart patterns, for key levels, for approaching key levels, lots of different types of statistics. And you can see they go from pretty good to amazing, but we're not going to discuss them today. We're going to discuss them at the third webinar because I want you coming back. All right. So we're not discussing them today. But we are going to be going into these things and actually digging into what performs, what doesn't perform over the last 12 months, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to do that next week or the following week. All right. Good. So now that you've downloaded and installed a Metatrader and the Metatrader plugin, you'll actually see two things that get installed on your Metatrader. The first thing is the Autochartist Expert Advisor, and the next thing is the Autochartist Risk Calculator. This risk calculator is the topic of conversation for our risk management webinar, which is, I believe, is the second webinar. That's next week's webinar. Again, that is the most important webinar you have ever attended in your life. So please attend that one. But today we're just sticking to the Autochartist market scanner, and I drag and drop that onto my chart. You don't have to enable DLLs. You don't have to change anything. You literally just drag and drop it and click OK. And hopefully in the matter of a few seconds, you get a whole market scanning window. Now, don't be scared. I know it's called an expert advisor, but don't worry, it does not trade on your behalf. You can see I've got auto trading switched off. This thing does not trade on your behalf. The reason it's an expert advisor is because we use some technologies only available to EAs, especially around these drawing objects, okay? So this little window that comes up on your Metatrader is actually identical in its content to this trading opportunities component, which you find in your client cabinet. You can see there's an opportunity on New Zealand dollar, on Swiss franc. The difference is there's no preview, right? You can just click it and it'll change the graph. So right now you can see we're on USD Swiss franc 4-hourly chart. If I click on NZD USD view, it'll actually change us to the NZD USD daily chart. And here is our chart pattern. You can see it drawn over here. Here's the resistance, here's the support. You can see a very strong breakout and our target region of where we think the price is going to, right? Now, the line items with the colored icons, that's all of these, with the colored arrows, those are the breakout patterns, right? So you can see that the price is actually broken out through support or resistance, right? But if I look at these gray icons, the price has not yet broken through, right? It's still approaching this blue level. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, so on gold, we see a very strong support level at $1,783, and the price momentum is still moving down towards that level. Yeah, no breakout yet. Whereas here, this one on AUD USD 4-hourly chart, bam, here's a breakout. And because there's a breakout, let's actually see. Oh yeah, I did a pretty good job here. This was actually very subtle. I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but touching over here, strong breakout here, and a lot of consolidation in this at this level. So that's a pretty subtle one, but pretty good one actually. And you can see a very strong breakout through this level with a target price for AUD USD on the 4-hourly chart to around this level here, 0.72,700, right? So very, very interesting opportunity over there. Okay, so again, the same information. And if you want to filter, if you got some experience and you want to filter stuff, you can filter some things out. So for example, I don't trade Fibonacci, okay? So I don't want this ABCD pattern there. So I'm going to remove all my Fibonacci patterns. I don't want big movement consecutive candles. And I removed M15 and M30 because that comes back with too much information for me. And so bam, here we go. I've got one page of trading opportunities. Now, one thing that's important to note about this component is that this list of instruments is connected to your watch list. Okay, so if I want to reduce the number of instruments, I need to reduce my watch list. So what basically Autochartist says is that, hey, if you have this in your market watch window, if you have these instruments in your market watch window, it means that you are interested in those instruments. Okay, so if you're not interested in those instruments, you should remove them anyway, because you're just creating a lot of noise for yourself. Okay, so let's just say I don't want, like, I'm not interested in gold, right? So let me remove this from here. Let me show you what this. I delete that from my. Oh, I can't delete that from my market watch window. Let me choose a different example. That looks like it's fixed. Okay, EuroCAD. Let me remove EuroCAD from my market watch window. I will go delete. If I'm not going to wait for it to reload. It takes about a minute to reload. I'm going to just force it to reload. You'll see that my EuroCAD, oh, why is EuroCAD still there? Oh, that's interesting. Not sure why my, oh, sorry, everybody. That's the problem with working from home, right? These days is you have dogs barking. Okay, so I'm not sure why it didn't actually disappear with EuroCAD. It should have disappeared. I'll ask the tech guys why this should have disappeared. It might do that on the next refresh, but EuroCAD should disappear. But the idea is, I always tell retail traders to reduce the number of instruments in their market watch window to make it more accessible, right? So if you don't trade DAX Euro, for example, or the CAC 40, just remove them. Don't have them here. They take up processing power on your computer, and you're not interested in them anyway. Just mucks things up for you. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to use the last few minutes to actually place some trades, right? And actually show you what this looks like. Okay, so let's look at this thing on New Zealand dollar, US dollar daily chart, long. Okay, so I see that there's a breakout. Autochartist thinks it's going long up to this level over here. So I can just click on new order. I can go buy at market. There it is. I'm in the market. Again, if you want to set your stop losses and take profits, do that as you wish. But in the next webinar, we'll be talking around the risk calculator, which is the best way to try and figure out what your position size should be, what your volume should be on your trade. But for now, we're skipping that out just to show you what that looks like in terms of actually trading. If I want to trade this, let's just see this opportunity here on gold. Let me zoom into that. So let's say, for example, I don't think it's going to go lower. I think it's going to bounce and then go up that way. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I don't think it's going to go this way, is I'm going to set a buy limit. Okay. So I'm going to set a new order. I'm going to set a pending order, buy limit at what price? At 178,360. Bam. Okay, now I'm in the market. Okay, which means that if the price hits this level, I feel like it's going to rebound. Okay, which is great. So now I've actually taken a preemptive strike on the market, and you can see that this trade has not yet executed, right? We haven't actually opened this position yet. It's just my view on the market. You could have a different view, right? You could think that if it hits this level or goes through this level, right, you could go short. So what I've seen people do before is instead of setting in this situation, a sell stop at this level, you would give it a bit of time to break through. So a sell stop, you would place slightly differently. You would click on something like pending order, a sell stop at around, let's just say 1,781. Okay, and we place. So in this situation, only if the price hits this line, right? So it means it broke through the support level and confirmed the breakout, then I would be in the market, right? Okay, so just to give you some ideas around the kinds of trades you can place with Autochartist, right? So let me just close those. Let me delete those orders so that I don't forget about them, and then I wake up with huge profits and losses on my account. Okay, good. All right, so let me show you some, let me see if there's any big movements in the market right now. I believe there was one. All right, on GBP ORD. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here's a big movement of GBP ORD, which is basically telling us, Autochartist is telling us that this is a very, very large movement. And you can actually see that very clearly. If you look at the past, look at this movement and look at what happened afterwards, right? Look at this movement and look at what happened afterwards, right? So you can actually see that what Autochartist is saying to us is after these large movements, there's a potential turnaround. Again, there's never a guarantee, right? What's happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. But you can see that, right, you could look at this and say, well, after this massive move, there has to be a pullback. Markets don't just go in one direction. So what is the possible trade on this? You could potentially say, simply, right, go long on GBP ORD right now and see what happens. Again, this is on the hourly chart, so you have to give it quite a few hours to play out. Okay. So what else can I tell you? Right. So if you want to get these alerts on your cell phone, it's pretty cool. What you can do is you can look for, let me clear all these things and show you what to look for. Open your Google Play or App Store, your Apple App Store, and search for Autochartist. Download the Autochartist mobile application. And on the mobile application, you'll actually see login using QR code. You click on that, you scan this little thing, and you'll be logged into the mobile app, the mobile equivalent of this application. And what you can do is you can set the mobile app to alert you when there's a new trade setup. Okay, so if you are a big fan of mobile apps and you don't have your trading screen open all the time, then the mobile application is a pretty useful way of getting the same kind of information. Right? And I believe that's all I want to say today. So let me close these positions while I let all of you think about everything I've said and allow you a moment to send some questions. There must be some questions, guys and girls. Otherwise, you're basically telling me that either I'm the worst presenter in the world or the best presenter in the world. That there's never questions. No? Okay. Okay, well then we call it a day or call it a night for all of you. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with all of you. Let me find out when the next webinar is so I can let you know. I believe it is same time next week, and it's all about risk management. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this risk calculator and how we can use this risk calculator to set our volume and position sizes to make sure we're not underexposed and overexposed in the market. Again, invite your friends. That is the most important webinar you have ever attended in your life. Okay, I'm going to save your life and I'm going to allow you to trade for longer. Okay, so you must attend that webinar. Please, Joshua just sent me the most amazing compliment. Joshua, thank you very much. You sent a compliment. Amazing presentation. Thank you, Joshua. That's much appreciated. Favur, same thing. Great presentation. Does Autochartist work on volatility indices, synthetic indices? So, Favur, this is a really good question. Technical analysis. It's not about Autochartist. It's technical analysis doesn't work on. I mean, not technical analysis. Chart patterns and support resistance are ineffective on volatility indices. If you're talking about things like VIX, I urge you not to use things like chart patterns or moving averages. The only thing you might be able to use on kind of these synthetic volatility indices like VIX is things like RSI or Bollinger Bands or ADRs, something that is more of an oscillator or stochastic, something that's more of an oscillator, something that more than support resistance. So just be very wary of how to trade synthetic indices, but really good question on that. So again, thank you everyone. So Umar is asking a question. Okay, suddenly everyone woke up and asking questions. That's awesome. Okay, so Umar, what if XAU USD breaks the support level? XAU USD, what if it breaks support? Are you asking me for market prediction, Umar? I'm not allowed to give market predictions, okay? I have to give you one of these very politically correct market predictions, Umar, which is if the price breaks through the support level, then you could see the price moving as low as this level over here, down to 177, 1770 or 1775. However, if it, it could. But if it doesn't, you could see it testing these upper bounds again of 1800s, right? So definitely look out for these very, very important levels. I would say that looking at this at gold right now, there are definitely some interesting levels that I'm looking at. The one that Autochartist identified. There is this one over here where there was not only a lot of consolidation recently, but also actually in the past, a lot of consolidation. So also very important level around 1770. And then I see some very interesting levels around here, around 1800. So I think some very interesting times going on gold at the moment. I hope that was a politically correct, a legally acceptable way of answering your questions, Umar. I don't want to be held liable for any losses or profits. If there's a profit, send me a whiskey. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, everybody. I've had lots of fun today. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure that Yakubu at Kwakol is going to edit out the first part of this presentation where there was a lot of waiting around, and then he'll probably make it public. I look forward to seeing you all next week, same time, same place. Please invite your friends. Super important about risk management. Super, super important webinar. Okay, later, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Alan, for the overview, and thank you everyone for joining. So we meet again next week as a great same time, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be more exciting. Talking about risk management and
yeah, that's going to be an awesome webinar. It's my favorite topic, so it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Good. Bye.
All right. Bye. Have an amazing day.